If you clicked on this video, you probably watched Gravity Falls back in the good old days of it first coming out like I did. You may even be such a die-hard fan to remember the reason Dipper is called Dipper in the first place. But are you a big enough fan to remember that Dipper and Pacifica is canon? Sorry, what I meant to say was that Dipper gets his name from the Big Dipper-shaped birthmark on his forehead. But how does that congregation of a constellation even form in the first place? Wouldn't you rather be figuring that out instead of pining over your hoard of fanfiction? Okay, yeah, that joke was pretty bad. I'll just stop. Roll the intro. Isn't that the best part of these videos? Anyway, something else you might not remember about Gravity Falls unless you stalk this series is that Dipper is just a nickname. His real name, given to him at birth, is Mason Pines. If you knew that already, make yourself some maple juice as a prize. If you don't choke on a dinosaur or cough up some glitter, you have my respect. So a birthmark, as defined by our good friend Google, is an unusual and typically permanent brown or red mark on someone's body from birth. But now I hear some keyboards clack-a-lacking away with stuff like, are freckles birthmarks? Or perhaps the better question of, can I catch a birthmark? You see, if you listen to what I just said, you wouldn't ask such stupid questions. Let me reiterate that birthmarks come from, guess what? Birth. So when little Dipper popped out right after Mabel, they are twins after all, he already had that birthmark. But how does one get a birthmark in the first place? What is the cause? Or better yet, you ask as you realize that you have one, will it kill me? Well, birthmarks are grouped into two different types. There are vascular birthmarks that usually look red or purplish. They are caused by abnormal blood vessels under the skin. The other type are pigmented birthmarks. They usually look pink and are caused by a grouping or discoloration of pigments in a spot on your skin. But wait, you say, interrupting me once again. I have a birthmark and it looks only a little different from the rest of my skin color. What does that mean? What that means, my curious audience, is that birthmarks fade over time. As you get older, sometimes birthmarks, like Dipper's, can dull in hue. If I were to guess, I'd wager that Dipper's birthmark is a pigment variety. As you can see from this blood vessel chart, the forehead is not a prominent location for them to cluster up. So now we know what it is, but how likely is it for him to even have that astronomical assortment on his head in the first place? Well, Baby Center says that 80% of toddlers have some form of birthmark, though it usually doesn't last. Half that many babies actually keep their birthmark, so having one is about a 40% chance. Though it may seem like it, Dipper does not just have one birthmark, he has a plethora of them. Each dot and line is to be considered its own birthmark, even though they do connect. Of the dots representing stars, there are 11, and 7 lines connecting them all. So that means that we have to run our 40% formula 18 times to calculate the likelihood. And that equation comes out to be a 0.000687% chance of such a birthmark occurring. Now that's got me curious to see if Mabel has a cat birthmark or something on her head. For another time. Hopefully you enjoyed this video on a question that you may not have ever thought to ask. What are your thoughts? Do you wish that your birthmark of Oscar the Grouch would go away? Or maybe you too yearn for a print of the Milky Way on your head? Let me know in the comments along with anything else that comes to your mind after watching this. Hopefully you liked the video, and if you did, I guess like the video, but please, don't subscribe.